Hi everyone! gRPC is a modern alternative to REST for building APIs. It's ideal for distributed applications and high-performance scenarios. Today we'll learn how to set up gRPC in .NET. Let's get started. Open Visual Studio and create a new blank solution. Select this template to define the client and server projects. Define the name. Open the Solution Explorer and create a new project to define the gRPC server project. Add a new project and select the ASP.NET Core gRPC service template. Define the name. Select the .NET version and create this project. So the gRPC server is created. We have this Proto folder which we define the Proto File. This is the contract that the client and the server should follow. Here we'll define the service and we'll also define the messages for the request and reply objects. So in this case, we can remove this package because we'll just only use one Proto File and we'll create the definition for the order service, the contract that will follow the client and server projects. So let's define the order service. And here we'll define a place order method to place an order. And we'll define the corresponding request and response messages. This is language independent, so the contract is applied for any language. So this is the request message that we'll define to place an order. We'll define two fields. In this case, we'll define a product ID of this type. And this is an unique field number used for gRPC in order to serialize. I will define a second property called quantity with the corresponding unique field number, and add the corresponding order response. This will be our response message for the order service, and we'll just simply return a new order ID. So in this Proto File, we define the corresponding contract for the client and the server. Now, in order to generate the corresponding C# classes based on this contract, we need to build a solution. But before that, we'll go to the project file and you will see in this item root that we include the corresponding Proto File. Let's rename this Proto File as an order proto. Go back. And here we add this property to specify that we'll generate only the server-side classes. Go to the Solution Explorer and you will see that we have the services folder with this greatest service. Here we'll define the order service after generating the corresponding C# classes. So I will temporarily remove this logic and this inherit base. Go back to the Solution Explorer and build the solution to generate the corresponding C# classes in order to create the gRPC server. Click Build. Go to the Solution Explorer and you will see that the corresponding C# classes are generated in the object folder. So I will show all the files with this icon and go to the object debug.NET 9 and the Protos folder. You will see that we have this auto-generated order CS file, okay, with the messages, the order request, the response, and all the required code that we need, and the order gRPC. This is auto-generated code to define the order service. Let's close these files. And now it's time to add the corresponding order service. So we'll inherit from order that order base. And here we'll override the place order method that we specify in the gRPC contract. So we'll simulate that we're placing an order. So we'll log through the console that we're checking the stock, processing the payment. We're just simulating that we're placing the order, and finally we'll return a new order response with a random ID, so called task result, because we need to return a task object, and we'll add a new order response with a random order ID, so called width, that new width, and convert this to string. So the order service is defined based on the order base. We override the place order to simulate that we're checking the start, processing the payment, and then return a new order ID. It's time to test in this gRPC server. So let's run this application. I will go to Postman and test this gRPC service. So from this Postman view, we have an icon to test to send a gRPC request. Select this icon and we'll go to the service definition. We can import the corresponding Proto File. So click this button and choose File. Navigate to the project, go to the server, to the Protos folder and select the corresponding Proto File. Click Import. And now we can select a method, which is the place order method here. Go to the message tab and we have the option to use an example message with the corresponding order request message. So we'll define a product ID and a quantity. And finally, we need to enter the server URL. So I will open the output console and copy the corresponding HTTPS URL, which is this one. And here it's important to enable TLS because it's a secure communication using gRPC. So click this icon and you will see here in the project, go to the Solution Explorer and you will see in the app settings.json that we specify the HTTP2 protocol that gRPC uses for secure communication. Go back to Postman and send a gRPC request. And we have the corresponding random order ID. We can go to the order service at a breakpoint, send again, and you will see the place order method will be executed. Let's continue. And we have the order ID. And you will see in the output console that we're checking the stock and processing the payment. So our gRPC server is working fine. Let's stop this application. Now we'll create a client project in order to process orders over time every 2 seconds. So for that, we'll create a new worker service. So open the Solution Explorer, and from the solution, we'll add a second project. Select the worker service template and define the name as gRPC client. Select the .NET version and the client is defined. So in order to add the gRPC reference, right click over the project and we'll add a new service reference. Here we'll select a gRPC in order to establish the communication with the server. And we have 2 options to select a file or URL. In this case, we'll select the Proto File defined in the server project. And we'll generate only the classes needed for this client project. So we'll select client, click finish, and it will automatically generate all the required NuGet packages. Close this window. Let's save it, and we have the program and the worker for this client. Open a command prompt, and we'll use a tool called gRPC in this .NET project. So navigate to the corresponding client project, and here we'll install this tool called gRPC. So we'll use this command .NET tool install .NET gRPC, and we'll add this flag to install globally. Execute the command. It's already installed in my machine. And then we can type .NET in gRPC. We have the description from this command. We have the commands that we can associate, like add file. We'll use this add file command in order to reference the Proto File from the gRPC server project. So we'll add this command and navigate to the server project, and then go to the Protos folder and select the order Proto File. Here we'll add the reference to this Proto File, execute, and the file reference is added. Open the Solution Explorer, and you will see that in the client we have the new Protos folder with the reference to the contract that we defined in the server with the order and the request and response messages. Now it's time to create a gRPC channel, but before that, open the program.cs file, and we added the worker. And here in this worker, in this while loop, we'll establish the gRPC channel to communicate with the server. So we'll type using var channel and reference the gRPC channel class, and we'll call this for address function to specify the server URL. Go to the Solution Explorer and the gRPC server. We'll go to the properties folder, and in the launch settings we have the application URL. Let's copy this address, and now we'll create a new variable called client. We'll create a new order that order client, and we specify the channel as an argument. And here we can invoke the place order method. So we'll create a new response property, and by using the client we'll place an order asynchronously that we define in the contract. So add the await keyword, and we need to specify the order request. So I will create a new order request object with the two parameters, the product ID, that in this case will be a random ID. So we'll add a new random class with the next function to define a minimum and maximum values. And finally, we'll specify a hard-coded quantity. So we have the response from this place order method, and we'll remove this if statement. We just simply use the log that is injected in this class to log an informational message that the order was placed with the corresponding order ID, and we'll select the order ID from the response and add a 2-second delay to process orders every 2 seconds. So the client is ready. We'll using a worker service. We specify the gRPC channel to communicate with the server and create a client to place an order asynchronously by defining the order request and log the order ID. It's time to test both solutions. So in order to run multiple started projects, let's select this icon and configure start projects. Select this option to configure multiple started projects and start both projects. Click start, and look that we have established the communication using gRPC. This is from the server project that we're checking the stock and processing the payment, and from the client we log that the order was placed with a random order ID. This is processed every 2 seconds using the worker service. So our gRPC server client communication is established properly.